English to me. When she was 18, she couldn't even speak English. It was more of broken languages because she came from a family who spoke Teochew. And of course, when you go to government school, BM. And she climbed her way up in the world to give me the opportunities that I have today. My dad was a military man. He went to the military, he was learned and very educated, and he went into the military to serve, and he went to Australia to serve as well. And he's always been someone who knows how to prioritize what he wants and respects women. My dad was the one that raised me growing up. My mom was the breadwinner of the family. And I've never seen any conflict between both of them when it comes to this arrangement. My dad always brought me up to be someone who is independent and never said that impossible was a word that existed in our family. My mom and dad never wanted to hear the word "this is impossible." It was more of it's impossible for other people, but is it really for you? Think about it. And they said, like, if you really truly want to do it, then go ahead and do it. Don't put that word in your head. So the word impossible in my family was like a very negative word, and it should not even be said. So honestly, it's props to my mom and dad for the way I am, and the reason why I am able to pursue the passion of my martial arts.
Oh, nice. So how long have you been in this martial arts journey?
Definitely since I was 6, but I've been fighting since 2018. I've been fighting since 2018. My first fight was in 2018. Before that was just, like I said before, very all different kinds of martial arts.
Nice, nice. So I just have a quick. So this is one of your kicks in the ring. It's kind of inside the rings. It's like the way I explain it is like in the old days when I go to the circus, I
Yes,
I only see a person and a lion. Right. So
yes,
in the
essentially, yes.
in the ring, what was your mental strength during that moment?
I think when it comes to fighting, first off, like in MMA, we actually call this a cage, not a ring. I know it sounds very aggressive to say a cage because it sounds like, oh wow, I caged in. It is true though. Once the door is locked, the fighter can't come out because the cage is actually locked from the outside. So it's do or die. You can't run away. And mental strength, I believe, is created not in a fight. Mental strength is something that you have every single day throughout your training. It is trained, it is developed through that. It is when your coaches push you to your limit in training, it's when your coaches are shouting at you in your training. That's where your mental strength is developed, so that once you are in that cage, it's just, for me personally, I was on autopilot. There was no what if, there was no maybe, there was no doubts, there was no what if. When I was in there, it was, I am the champion, I'm showing them I am the champion, that medal is mine, and I'm going to prove it to them that she does not belong in the cage. That cage belongs to me, and she stepped into my territory. So all those thoughts in that cage came from my coaches every single day pushing me hard, pushing me so hard, to thinking that I'm thinking it's my limit, but they push me beyond that to show me that there is more that I can do, what I think I can do. And from that, it gave me the confidence and the strength that no matter what in the cage, I was like, oh, it's okay, I'm being pushed against the cage, it's fine. You know what, I'm gonna push back, I'm gonna fight back. You're gonna push me, but you're gonna suffer in the process. So it's a mental strength is a very it's a it's something that comes from years and years. It's not something that is just like, oh, you just have it in a sense. I believe from my experience.
No, I have an interesting question for one of the Rotarian over here. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever they was watching you guys in the cage, so called, there's a lot of hugging things going on. So the question is, when you all hug each other, do you all whisper to each other, or is there any conversation in between there?
No, because okay, first off, I need to clear that up. So that is actually called grappling. Whenever I am holding her very close, that is actually called grappling. We will include jiu-jitsu, clinching, and wrestling into it. That's why we are so close. Secondly, no, because we have our mouthpiece on and we're literally trying to breathe through our mouthpiece. Because um, the intensity in a fight is very, very different. Yes, we fight as an amateur, three-minute rounds with 1 minute break in between. But the intensity of the fight is such that you do really need to focus on your breathing rather than trying to talk to your opponent. I know some people who actually talk to their opponents. It is not legal. It is completely fine. You can do it, but I don't because I think it's a waste of breath.
Mm.
But you can.
Nice, nice. So just now there's a screenshot during the championship fight,
This
right?
is the finales of the Asian Strawweight Championships, yes.
Yeah. So you was hurt. I mean, it
Yeah.
was showing that the blood was bleeding. So this question came in about after the fight, how do you recover both physically and mentally?
Um, Again, credits to my coaches and teammates for that. My coaches have a rule for me. So physically, after after every fight or every tournament, we are to take 11 to 14 days off training, meaning only swim. We can do swimming, basically ice, sauna, swimming, very, very light, low impact activities, but we are not allowed to step foot into the gym and train. So we can do other activities like wherever we want. Like let's say you want to go dancing, we can go. We can do light training, light cardio, but we are not allowed to be training for the next 11 to 14 days. And that gives our body enough time to recover from the damage done from the fight and recover from 3 months of fight camp. This is we still train all year round, but we have in basically we put ourselves into fight camp where training is very different, nutrition is also very different, and all that. And training is very intense in those 3 months. So we put our body in a lot of stress in those 3 months. So that 2 weeks is literally for us to recover from the fight and the training that we put ourselves to. To those who work out, you will understand that the human body goes through, we will kind of progress and then we will peak at a certain point. So throughout the 3 months of the fight camp, the goal is to make us peak during the fight so that we perform at our best during the fight. And after that, we will drop. So in that drop, that's when we recover. Mentally, in those 2 weeks, it gives us the time to actually relax our mind and also recover. So those 2 weeks are not only something for us physically to recover from damages, but also mentally from the stress we've literally put ourselves for 3 months because we are telling ourselves we need to push, we need to push. And now for 2 weeks, it's like, okay, I get to relax, I get to spend time with my family, my friends a bit more. Because for 3 months you're basically focused on only your training. So in those 2 weeks, I get to spend more time with my family, my friends. I get to relax a bit, and it gives you that reset button actually, which is actually what you need after such intensity for like 3 months and plus the fight.
Oh, nice, nice. I just got a very interesting question. Are you wearing a wig in the WIG in the cage? In the cage is short hair, but in the video you have a squirrel hair.
That's not short. That my hair is braided. If you can see in the fight, it's actually braided. So when I fight, I always braid my hair so it's out of my face. Yeah,
Wow, wow.
it's actually braided.
Yeah, yeah. So this was the moment that you won the championship. So what was that feeling once
Yes.
you got that?
Then you can see the person I'm hugging in the red is actually my brother. The person in black is my jiu-jitsu professor actually. Um, Honestly, winning the Asian Open Championship was the best feeling I've ever had in any of my fights because I was told by everyone before that no one has ever won the like from my gym in Malaysia. No one has ever won the Asian Open Championship in IMAF and in an international competition like this for MMA. And everyone was telling me like, those who had went before, they were like, no one has ever won this, right? And I was like, yeah, I know. And everyone was saying like, no one has ever won this. None of us really make it to the finals and stuff like that. People were telling me all sorts of things from the past and all that. And I remember telling them, and I did this in front of my coaches too. And I actually told them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be the first person to bring home the gold medal. And they were
Nice.
like, sure. I was like, yeah, just because people before me couldn't do it doesn't mean I'm one of them. And that was the mentality that my coaches and I brought into that tournament, because I was the newbie in that tournament. No one has seen me before. No one knew who I was. Everyone in the tournament had been competing in that IMAF tournament for quite a while now. So that feeling of proving everyone wrong and being able to make my coaches and my teammates and my family proud was something that, of course, really made me happy. Like you can see, I was crying because I knew the moment that they stopped the fight, I was the first champion. And even then, after that, they actually played the Malaysian national anthem on the podium. So what they do in IMAF is the champion, when they give out the medals, they will play the national anthem of the champion's country. So being on the podium, hearing our Nagaraku being played among God knows how many countries. Kazakhstan was there, China was there, Thailand was there, um, so Australia was there. So many countries were there competing. I think there were people from certain parts of Europe that were competing too. And imagine we having an international crowd there, and they are all listening to Nagaraku because of what my coaches and I had done. It was honestly something that nothing can replicate. Nothing can replicate that feeling.
Wow, wow, that's nice. So there's this interesting question came to me. Right.
Mhm.
I will break that question into two. Let's continue. First, are you
Okay.
paid for all this competition? And what was your highest prize ever won?
Okay, so this to explain this, no, I'm not paid because I'm an amateur MMA fighter. I have always called MMA a poor man's sport for this reason, because I invest so much more than I actually get in return until I turn a professional. Professional is when we get paid to fight. Right now, I literally pay these tournaments for me to fight. For IMAF, I had to pay a registration fees to fight. When I was at the World Championships in Bahrain, I had to pay 860 US dollars for registration. It includes stay and food and all that, all in Bahrain. And I had to pay another 860 US dollars so I could bring my coach along to pay. I also had to cover the flights for my coach and I. For the World Championships, I was lucky enough that a private sponsor came up and said, I will help you through this. So she actually covered me and my coaches um, the flights and the registration fees, because the flight and registration fees in total for each person, it would have probably come up to about maybe I guess 200 $2,000 US dollars each. $2,000 US dollars each, 1 to 2,000 US dollars each, my coach and I each. So that will be about 2 to 4,000 US dollars, just like that. She came up and she said, I'll help you so that you don't have to worry about the money. So no, we are not paid at all. We don't get paid because we are amateurs. We pay, even when I compete in all the local tournaments, I pay them money. I pay them registration fees of 50 ringgit or 100 ringgit so I can fight, so they can find someone for me to fight. And that's just how it works. That's just how the game is. Until you become a professional, that's when you start earning your keep in a way. The second question, what was the second question again?
What was the highest price? So if you're not paid, then the second question might not be relevant.
we don't get paid,
Yeah.
but the only competition I've ever competed was the IMAF World Championships, where they actually gave monetary prizes to the top three.
Nice.
So in the IMAF World Championships, we actually did get a prize for third place also.
Yeah. So
I do not recall at this current
I
moment in time.
so
That was the only one I've ever
yeah.
done.
So I saw in the World Champion. I mean World Cup. Is it? This is the one that
World Championships.
World
Yeah.
Championship. Yeah. So you got the bronze, and
Yeah.
I watched the video, and I noticed that
Mm.
it's just a slight moment, right? And yeah, very emotional during that moment. What happened that time?
During the loss at the
Yeah.
World,
Yes.
I realized that I made a mistake. And honestly, looking back, she was better than me that day, but I recognized the fact that it was my mistake and she was smarter than me because I knew that I could have won, which was the worst feeling in the world, knowing that because of your mistake, you lost. It wasn't because of her, it was because of my mistake I lost at the Worlds. It was my mistake that cost me my gold medal. So it all came back to me and what I had done. It was not her, it was not she was better than me. If someone was better than me, I would say yes, she was. But knowing the fact that I was at the Worlds and I lost at the Worlds,
Oh, did we
it
lost
was
her?
my fault. That was my champion. It's heartbreaking. No, this is the day two fight. Um, the champion was the one in gold. That's the girl I lost to. Um,
Okay.
it was honestly the worst feeling in the world because everyone counted on me. There was no other Malaysians left in the tournament. I was the only one, and my coaches and I set out to bring home the gold medal. Always, nothing less than that. So to know that because of my mistake that I had cost the gold medal for us, it honestly broke my heart. It was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever felt. I literally cried for like 2 days. My teammates were trying to console me for like 2 days. And that's just how it is though in the game. One mistake, they capitalize on it and you lose. So, but again, things happen for a reason. I made that mistake, which made I feel like it's made me a better and smarter fighter in the sense where now I recognize what I need to work on and I recognize what needs to be done to change so I can come back better and more skillful.
Nice. So I know you for a couple of months now, right? So and I also knew that in fact you are in the mid of recovering your knee injury,
Yes.
right? So does that major impact to you in your career?
Major, I don't think so. Yes, it does pull me back a bit from, being able to train and all that. But in the long run, this is going to help my career because I know that by fixing it now, I don't have to worry about it for until I retire, which is much better because I don't want to be a professional and then going like, sorry, but I need to take time off because of my injury. That would be the worst possible thing as a professional because as a professional, it's a dog eat dog world. If you lose, you can't perform, the promotions have no mercy. They will kick you out just like that. So being very blessed to be able to fix this issue now. I'm very glad that like Dixon Lab is helping me right now as well. To have all these opportunities right now, I think this will be the perfect base for my future, and this will be good. This is what was necessary, and I'm glad I finally did it. So major impact in a good way, yes, definitely.
Nice. So we like to tell them um, how do you go through the whole recovering process? Oh, I think you're freeze.
Oh, No, the whole recovery process, it's a lot of patience.
Yeah. And what would you advise them to do? I mean, related to your experience, what you experience now.
You really need to be patient. When it comes to surgery, personally for me as an athlete, I'm someone who has never stopped doing sports, ever since I was very young until now. Whatever it is, I would just compete in. I was competing in running. I was when I was 10 to 16, I was playing basketball and I was in basketball competitions. When I was 16, so I was about 19.
Oh, I think we lost her.
Doing road running, trail running, obstacle. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, we can hear you now. Yeah.
yeah. I've been competing in basketball since I was 10 to I was 16. From I was 16 to I was 20, I was competing in road running, trail running, and obstacle course racing. Either simultaneously or back, or like few years I stopped and then I changed. And I was, top three in all these kinds of competitions all the time. And mentally, it strained me a lot to know that I could not do anything. Honestly, the injury and then the surgery, um, it took me having to change my mindset to be able to go through this recovery process. The minute I changed my mindset to this is what you need to do so that you have a future in MMA, which is what I really wanted, made me prepared for the surgery and the recovery process because um, the rehab is the most important part. But at the same time, I needed to be patient in my recovery. I couldn't push too much or it would hurt too much. And really teaching myself and holding myself to listen to my coaches and my physio was something that I'm not gonna
I'm not
say
gonna say
because
because
because I'm
because
definitely a prepared
I'm
person. So it's I would suggest for anyone who is going through recovery, going through an injury, take your time. Really, take your time, do your work, do the work, do the rehab. Because if you get lazy with your rehab, you're not gonna go anywhere. You have to be very disciplined with it. You have to do the work, but also understand your limit. It is not a bad thing, but understand your limit and how far you can go. Again, it comes back to strengths and weaknesses. Acknowledge your strengths, but also acknowledge and work on your weaknesses. It is something that we need to understand. But also, don't just because of an injury, you stop doing a lot of other things. Don't feel like it's gonna stop you from doing things. I feel like the most common thing when it comes to people who do surgery, when it comes to injury, they just kind of go like, oh, they get depressed because they are like, oh no, I can't do this anymore. I can't do that anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't do that anymore. And focusing on what you can't do puts you in that state of depression when we should be focusing on being grateful and being grateful for what we have, being grateful that the surgery went well, being grateful that you are still here, you can still work. Like let's say, oh no, you can't. Let's say you got knee injury, you can't play badminton anymore. Tell yourself it's okay. I'm going to fix my injury. Oh, I can't play badminton anymore, but I still have my other leg. I still have my upper body. So I'm going to keep fit so that when my knee is okay, I can play badminton again. So changing your perspective and your mindset really can make the whole recovery process so much better and so much more interesting, I would say, to not get into that depressive state, but also putting a goal in mind. Once you understand, it took me a while, and when I understood, I was like, Colleen, you cannot run. You cannot do MMA right now. You cannot do jiu-jitsu. You cannot do everything that you love. But you have to remember that this process is just as important so that your future is better. And another thing is having people around you to honestly keep you in check. If you're someone like me, who tends to push too fast, too much too fast, having people around you, supportive people around you, is a very good way to go. I have coaches that are like, hey, slow down. I give you a program, you follow this and nothing else. I have physios say, you're only going to do this. And having people like that support and trust you is is such a good thing, especially when it comes to having a recovery process. Like my family, my friends, they always remind me like, don't push yourself too much, recover your knee first. And they, even when I want to push too much, they always remind me like, hey, remember what's the most important thing here. And that honestly plays a huge role when it comes to getting out and making sure that your mental state is where it needs to be.
Nice, nice, nice. So I know Colleen for almost a month now, right? Knowing her, when I first met you, uh, before seeing you in person, right? I was told that you're an MMA fighter. So this is what I perceive you in the picture, right? Then when I saw you walking into the Pixel Lab, then I realized that, hey, in fact, you're shorter than me. You're much smaller size than me. Right. So that perception is completely different. No, why I'm saying this, I just want to give the audience over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? By seeing you in the cage, is completely different seeing you in person.
Yes, I get that a lot. That's very common thing that I get a lot.
Right. So I'll probably say that this is more you in person, right? And it's a completely different side of you. Now, my
I mean, everyone has different sides to themselves, you know. Like this is taken with a photographer, like because I do modeling on this side as well to earn some money besides personal training. So I think it's a very common misconception where people think like, oh, MMA fighter is gonna be looking very scary, very aggressive, and all that. But actually, we look very normal. Like Agilan Thani, like one championship fighter, Agilan Thani, if you meet him on the street, you will probably just walk past him because that's how chill and normal he looks. You know, he's wearing his glasses, he's out with his fiance and all that, and he looks so normal. And that's just how it is. And you would not have realized you have just walked past one of Malaysia's top pro MMA fighters, literally in Malaysia, in the welterweight especially. So like we actually are normal people. It's just that in the cage we need to do what is necessary. It's like how for you guys you have your corporate and then you have your personal life. Your personal life with your family, you are a different person. But then in corporate, when you need to meet with clients, you need to talk to your boss, your colleagues, you put on a different persona because that's your job. So it's exactly the same for us. MMA is our job, something we do to make money from and all these kinds of, I mean, not yet for me, but something that we do. It's a job. We go into the cage with no emotion, nothing. It's a job. We go in there, we do what we need to do to win, and then we respect each other. We shake our hands of our opponents and say thank you so much, and that it is what it is. So I think I understand the common misconception, but honestly, we are just very normal people. Like this is me on a regular basis, just with glasses if I'm lazy to wear contact lenses, and just in a hoodie, and that's just how I look on a daily basis.
so that's very interesting. So there's one question here.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming from ladies.
Okay.
Right? Moving from here to from this picture to that picture, the question is, how do you encourage people to start sports? Yes.
Take an interest in a sport that you want to do first, and then, like my friend is advising me to take it slow and steady. Don't rush into it. Take it slow and steady, but don't be afraid. Because the most common thing that I hear most of the time is, I'm scared to do this, I'm scared to start this, I'm scared to start that. Like when it comes to weightlifting, when it comes to girls who want to do weightlifting but then get scared of getting bulky, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been lifting weights like since I was maybe 16, doing boot camps, doing this, doing that, and all that, and I'm still this small. I wish I had the issue of being bulky, to be very frank. But on the other note, what is it wrong with being muscular? What's wrong with being muscular? To me, I feel like society has put so much like, oh, women cannot look muscular. Like, why not? Does it intimidate men because of their fragile egos that women cannot look as muscular as them or more muscular than them? So I think that when it comes to, I guess because females are asking this question, I would say, I don't want to swear, but basically, don't worry about what other people think, because it's your life. If you want to pick up weightlifting or powerlifting, go ahead and do it. Pick up a class, go to a class so you learn the proper technique, you know what to do, you have coaches to guide you, and work for what you want. It's your life. Live your life the way you want to live it. And don't be afraid of what other people say. I was the only girl in the gym doing MMA. I was training with the pro fighters, and every single one of them were guys. All of them were bigger than me, twice my size. And I was training with boys every single day. Not once did my coaches or these boys ever told me I did not belong. I worked hard to be there and to show them that I deserve to be there. I deserve to fight. And they gave me the respect I deserved. They gave me the respect that I earned. And I feel like once you get past that barrier of what society tells us, you can do anything that you want.
Yep, that's true. Now I know a secret of you.
What secret?
Right? And in fact, there's a question asked, do you specifically practice any strict diet to keep up your stamina?
Of course, this is going to come up. Okay, yes, I am a vegan, but disclaimer, veganism is not for everyone. I do not do this as a diet. Veganism for me is a lifestyle. I change everything. I not only what I eat, what I wear, everything changes. I am more aware of what I put on outside and also inside, because veganism to me is love and compassion. I love animals so much that I don't want to see them die just to be food on my plate, because I am lucky and I'm blessed enough that I can get my nutrients from other places. Again, this comes back to people, oh, what about people in poor countries and blah blah blah. I'm saying I am privileged enough that I can choose not to eat meat and still survive and be fine. Veganism is really not for everyone, because not everybody's body can sustain a vegan diet. And veganism is all about non-exploitation of animals and the earth. We don't want to take from the earth. Don't want to be greedy. Mother Earth is here and she has blessed us with everything that she has given us so far. And we humans are so greedy. We take more than we need from Mother Earth and give nothing back to her. So one of the major things is industrialization. And this is one of the major things we want to fight against, and which is why we don't take part in meat consumption and all that. Again, just by choosing and being more aware of where your meat comes from, you can make a huge change. Like getting eggs from a farmer who actually takes care of the chicken, free range eggs, kampong chicken and all that. You know where it comes from. The animals are happy. They're not caged. They're not forced into an enclosure. And you can see this so much in Australia, where there's so much animal rights, where the farms are acres and acres of land. The cows are free roaming. All the animals are so happy and so free. All these kinds of things. Sorry, the fire in the kitchen kind of went on. I had to. Okay. So like seeing all that, just by saying, okay, I want to choose a place where I know that the farmers take care of the animals makes a huge difference. A lot of times industrialization is that they keep these animals in such inhumane conditions just for us to eat. So we're rearing them just for us to eat, and we're taking too much. There's so much wastage of food. So for me as a vegan, that's what I'm fighting against, and that's why I don't take part. But it all comes back to love. I love animals. I don't want to see them suffer. That's all just all about that. And yes, for me, I would say it is my secret because I am a vegan and I've been doubted time and time again. But again, there's a lot of things that I've realized that I have lacked certain micronutrients over the years and stuff like that, and which I will need to take certain things to supplement. Like if let's say omega-3 and omega-6 is something that I do have a deficiency in. If I could get like chia seeds is rich in omegas, and there's certain supplements that I can take, but sometimes it can be a bit hard, which is why sometimes I even take fish oil supplements because I lack the micronutrients that's needed. And I used to take vitamin B complex drips, so like intravenous drips every month, so that I had enough vitamin B to recover from my training as well. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but for me, I've been a vegan for nearly 4 years now. September would have been 4 years. September 2021 would be 4 years. And it has made me much better. Honestly, I feel much stronger, much more agile, and literally a better athlete since I've turned vegan. Again, this is my experience. It does not work for everyone, and it is okay. Honestly, for those who want to help with the environment and all that, even being on a vegetarian diet, you make a huge difference just like that.
So in your industry, are you the first vegan champ?
No, Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz in the UFC is vegan too. We actually have vegan champions. Okay, not a lot. Nate Diaz is in the UFC. He is vegan. He has explicitly said that he is vegan. You have boxers who are vegans too. I have no idea who because I don't really follow boxing. But in MMA, I follow Nate Diaz because I found out that he was a vegan, and that took me really off guard. I was like, what? And he's been fighting in the UFC for maybe more than a decade now.
Okay.
And it's just amazing to see. So I'm definitely not the first, but in Malaysia, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to combine these two questions into one. How do you move on to a professionals? And if you could have one dream fight with anyone, who would it be?
To move on to a professional is honestly very easy. People think it's very complicated. All I need to do is take a fight that's paid, and I'm already a professional. Literally, that's how it is in the MMA world. I just need to take a fight that pays me, and now I'm a professional. But once you go pro, you cannot go back to amateur. So that's actually a thing that people are like, oh, why are you still amateur? Like, is it hard to go pro? Like, no, you just need to take a paid fight, and you're already a professional, just like that. But I know my journey. I know what I want, so I don't want to turn that fast. The second question was, what my dream fight is. I don't have a dream fight. I have a lot of people, a lot of fighters that I would love to meet in person. Like that would honestly make me starstruck. Honestly, like a lot of fighters that I would love to meet in person. But I don't really have a dream fight. The only dream fight, I guess, is very general. Very general. It's not with a specific person. Would probably be fighting the champion of the strawweight division in the UFC, whoever it will be during that time. That would be a dream fight for me. Yeah.
And how long you will keep fighting?
I will fight until I cannot fight anymore.
So there's also an interesting question that I got before we started this. It's like, what if one day you walk into the cage and your opponent is the one that won you before? What was your mental strength what will be your mental strength during that moment? If that your opponent is once upon a time you lost to her.
Yeah. I'll just say like, thank God for giving me a second chance so I can beat her up.
Nice.
When it comes to MMA, you cannot walk into the cage with a single doubt in your mind. Walking into the cage with doubt in your mind, you are just waiting to lose. Just like, oh, maybe, and that's it. And that was one of the things that I had actually before I fought in the finals, the one I lost. I was like, oh no, she's like the world champion from last year. Like, it got in my head. It got in my head so bad. The day before, I called my brother all the way from Bahrain. I called my brother going like, Nick, she was the former champ. I thought she was the former, but she was like top 3. It's like, I'm fighting this girl. She's supposedly really good and stuff like that. I've never seen her. I just hear a lot of things, and I was just like, oh, she's supposedly really good, stuff like that. And my brother was like, yo, you need to wake up. He's like, yeah, she's good, but she hasn't met you yet. And I should have got that mentality into the cage too, but I had that small doubt in my mind. I was like, oh no, I'm facing the world champion. And that is another thing that I will never let that happen again. You can never ever doubt yourself. And I think this applies to any of us when it comes to any situation. Everyone in this world is going to doubt us. Everyone is going to say, you can't do it. You can't do this. You can't do that. You should not be another person telling yourself that, because there will be 100 people telling you you can't do it. You are the only person that you can trust in this world to believe in yourself. Other people believe in you later on in life, but if you yourself don't even believe in yourself and be confident in who you are, then no one can help you. And this is where mental strength comes from MMA. A lot of people tend to think that MMA fighters are very arrogant. I get this a lot, and I hear a lot of people say this, why MMA fighters so arrogant? To me, my explanation is this: if we are not confident and we do not believe in ourselves, who else will? In that cage, we are alone. We have our coaches, we have our teammates, but in the end, it is us to fight through the pain. It is us to fight through everything that's being thrown at us, literally. When we are on our backs, when we are getting punched in the face, it is us. If we don't believe in ourselves and we don't tell ourselves that we can tough it out, no one is going to save us. So we can come off a bit arrogant because we are like, I won't even deny, I can be like, before going to the cage, I'll be like, I am the champion. I'm the best. This cage is mine. And it sounds arrogant, but it is something that we need to tell ourselves. And I feel like this is something that everyone should be doing. Hyping yourself up. Telling yourself, before a big presentation or something, like, tell yourself, I can do this. I believe in myself. I'm going to ace this presentation. Whatever is in your life, you are your own hype man. There's no one else that's going to be the one telling you like, you got this. Yes, there will be sometimes we're lucky enough to have that, but sometimes you really just need to you have to rely on yourself.
Yep, that's great, nice. So I don't have many questions, except there's one more last question came in. Is MMA only for the young people?
No. If you talk about fighting, there's a reason why MMA fighters retire at about 40 years old. But I would say those people who want to do MMA, like mixed martial arts, as a sport, like, to get fit. Okay, I will give you literally this perfect example. My mother is 56 years old this year. She trains Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu with me 3 times a week. 3 times a week, my mom trains Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai with me. 3 times a week. She has done this for the past year. My dad is a boxer. Whenever I need help with boxing, he will train with me and he will train me. If you talk about to get fit or to learn it as a sport, as a martial arts is never too old for anyone. If you're an older person, the sport or the martial art where I would recommend you to learn would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it is a very low impact sport. It works your mobility, it works your flexibility, and this is perfect for someone who is basically 50 years old and above, basically older generation. This is perfect for you because you need this, and this will strengthen your mobility. And not only that, you will start learning new things about your body, which is perfect because at that older age, you need to make sure that your mind muscle connection is still there. And you need to make sure that your mind is still working, actively working. And this is the perfect thing. And it is not as high impact as getting punched in the face when it comes to Muay Thai or boxing. So for the older generation, I always recommend this. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really, really amazing martial art for you to learn and pick up and to even keep fit. Martial arts has no age.
Okay, nice.
Literally, martial arts has no age. It's just, do you want to do it or not? Because I've seen 40-year-olds walk into the gym, learning Muay Thai or learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And even in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you're a competitive person, in BJJ, there are weight classes and age groups for the older generation. Up to even 60 years old, you can still be competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you're competitive.
Nice.
But I believe it's one of the more, okay, it's not safe, but safer martial arts when it comes to older generation. So I'd say age is really never a number. If you want to learn, just join a gym and learn. Don't let all these young people say, oh, you're too old. No, 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 no. Join, you learn because it's for yourself. My mom has been learning with me for over a year and she's still loving the class. She's still learning new things every day. I asked her to kick the bag. Before this, she had difficulty kicking the bag. Now she's kicking the bag 100 times a day.
Yeah,
Just like that. 50 on the right, 50 on the left. My mom is 56 years old.
Okay, beautiful.
Age
Nice.
really is just a number.
Yeah. So there's most of us here in our Rotary Club are mainly above 50, and there's a question: do you give trainings for 50 years old men?
Okay, I'm gonna answer this very interesting question. Is that has she fight with a man before I go back to that one?
Okay.
Okay. I train with men, I spar with men, but I do not fight them. There is a reason for this, and there is a reason why there are male and female fighters. Male fight with male fighters in their specific weight class. Females fight with females in their specific weight class because biology. It is as simple as that. Biology. A 52-kilo man is the same weight as me, yes, but he is a man. Biologically, he is stronger than me. Just because I'm in the same weight class, just because I'm the same size, a man is always stronger than a woman physically. Biologically, he is gifted by God just like that. We have to accept this as a fact. There is a reason why sports is split with men and women. It is not, MMA is a sport where you punch each other in the face. We have weight classes for this reason because when you fight someone who is 5 to 10 kilos heavier than you, the impact of the punch is a very big deal. So imagine a 52-kilo man who punches like a 60. You're fighting in two classes. The reason it's not about it's not about being, I'm not being a feminist or whatnot, if any one of you want to say that to me. It is more on facts. Biology plays a big role when it comes to sports. If you talk about sports that maybe doesn't require any physical hits to the body or head, then maybe it's very possible for girls to fight with men. I'm not saying it's not impossible. It's possible, but
Oh, I think we lost her. Is it her connection slow?
it's too dangerous because
Okay.
we had there is a transgender fighter in one of she is really retired, transgender. So she was a man for 20 over years of her life, and she decided to switch genders to becoming a female. That's cool with me. That's your decision. But she fought in the female division. In 6 fights of her MMA career, in a professional MMA career, she broke 5 girls' faces.
Wow.
Because in 20 over years, you are still biologically a man, even though now you are now a woman. Biology plays a big role in this, and this is why men and women do not fight each other. We can train together, because training, we don't go 100%. Training, we can train together. I spar with my brother all the time. My teammates are all guys. I spar with guys, but we don't hurt each other. Okay, when it comes to, do I give training? Yes, I do give training. To 50-year-old, yeah, of course, because my mom is 50-something years old. But for me, I tend to focus a bit on children. So I tend to work with kids a bit more when it comes to fitness, when it comes to martial arts. I tend to work with like children like 6 years old and 10 and all that. I'm open to it for sure. The thing is that I don't generally take in male clients. So if you really do want to learn and you really do want to train, I would really personally recommend my brother. He is a certified personal trainer, just like me, ACE certified, American Council of Exercise certified. He is also a Muay Thai fighter. So he can teach you Muay Thai if you want to as well. And of course, get you fit as well. But of course, if you guys want to learn jiu-jitsu, I can teach you the basic jiu-jitsu. I'll be more than happy. I can try my best to fit it into my current schedule, but I have to figure that out. But yes, I'm open to it. But again, I fully recommend my brother much more when it comes to this.
Thank you. Right. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you for your time. Do not have much question. So it's 9:09. So almost to the end of our meeting, and thank you a lot for coming, being the speaker. At this
Thank
moment,
you for having me.
Yeah, let me pass back to our chairman of today, VP Eric.
Yep, thank you, President. I will call upon our Dato Andrew Goh to formally thank our speaker for tonight. Dato.
Thank you. VP Eric, I was thinking that in calling Changmi. Anyway, Changmi has sang his song just sound okay. Colleen, we are very, very honored to have you as our speaker for tonight. And as what President Dixon said, that we must not miss tonight's meeting on these speakers. And indeed, we are really glad that you told us a lot about MMA. And of course, again, as you say, nothing comes easy. And also, I think you have gone through a lot of pains, and you've gone through many challenges. As you say, you need to go up to the world champion, and you did it. Even though you got bronze, it's still amazing to us. Not easy to be in a world champion. So again, as I say, we salute you, and I hope that one day you will be the champion, and you will be, as you say just now, your brothers tell you, you are the champion, and in you are indeed a champion. All right. So again, the Rotarians of Port Klang and our guests, can we all put a hand together to thank our speaker for tonight, and we hope to see you more also. Colleen?
Thank you.
Let's put a hand together.
Honored to be here tonight.
Thank you, Colleen, for your great sharing.
Thank you.
Let's have a group photo together. All right, can everyone just on your video, have a good smile.
Dixon, you need to put a gallery view, then you can get everyone.
Gallery view, okay. Yes, gallery view. Yep. Okay. So now, place your biggest smile. Look into the camera. Say cheese. Okay, got you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So pass back to you.
Thank you, President. Before I round up the meeting, is our past President Chiu. You still around, Chiu? If you are not around, what about Wesley? Any updates? Wesley has gone off. President Chiu has gone off. All right, so that's about it for our official meeting. Guys, you may hang around for fellowship. Colleen, if you still have time, please join us for fellowship. I believe those remaining members now they would have personal questions to ask you. All right, that's it. End of meeting, official meeting for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll
Thank you.
stop the recording and then you can have the fellowship.